So please welcome from Lumaforge, Sam Mestman.
Hey guys, how's everybody doing out there? All right, so we have what I think is a really cool presentation for you guys tonight. So first off, how cool was the 10.3 demo? How many of you guys are on 10.3 at this point? Nice. All right. How many of you guys might be on it soon? All right. Basically, everything they showed is taking what is happening in post-production to another level. But really, the purpose of what we all do every day is telling stories. And so the key to all of this, forget anything that anybody shows you with all of this gear. It's really about how do I most efficiently do the thing that I set out to do, which is tell my story, whether that is a corporate video, whether that is a movie, whether that is an episodic TV pilot or a documentary. This is about telling your story. And the thing is there are more and more in-house video departments. There are video departments that are popping up everywhere. There are post houses, etc. The more that you work and the higher up you get, the more that you are going to need to work with other people. So what this is about today is how to work with other people in a collaborative Final Cut 10 environment. And we are going to demonstrate this in real time, and we're going to basically we are Lumaforge. We are the makers of that little box over there, which is the jellyfish. Everything you see tonight is going to be done from the jellyfish. All of the media is going to be shared. And basically, we are going to get from ingest out through, I'm going to show you how to make your own DCP. And this is going to be done from pretty much ingest to that. And it's all going to happen with really affordable tools through Final Cut and a few third-party applications and plugins. And this was done for an actual TV pilot that we made. And their post lived on set. We had a jellyfish on set that then came back. We finished this from Lumaforge. We made our own DCP a few years ago. I shot a movie on the original Red 1 camera in 4K. And we finished at 1080, and the budget for that movie was $400,000. For this TV pilot, we shot in 6K and 5K with a Dragon and an Epic, edited all the way through in Final Cut 10 with this exact workflow you're gonna see, and we paid everybody, and the final budget for this was less than 5% of what that movie cost. So the bottom line is, I'm going to teach you how to put more money in your line items and basically put a lot more money on screen, and the backbone behind all of this is Final Cut 10 and 10.3. We are Lumaforge. This is Patrick Southern. This is Gergana Angelova. Kevin Bailey was supposed to be here tonight, but unfortunately he had a family emergency. So Kevin, we are thinking about you. But basically enough talk. There will be no slides. We're just going to go ahead and dive in. So hopefully we have a little time for questions at the end. But I'm Sam Mestman, and we're going to kick it off with Patrick Southern.
Hey guys, how you doing? Woo, that's the best way to be. So as Sam mentioned, we are all going to be working from the same footage on the same jellyfish. And so to start things off, I'm going to set my library so that that works properly. So as you can see right now, I've got everything set to be in my library, which means that the media is in my library and nobody else can have it. It's just mine. So to change that, I'm going to go to Modify Settings, and I'm going to select a folder that we have here on the jellyfish. So we'll go off the grid, FCPX media, we'll choose. We'll do the same with the cache folder. I happen to have this fun little caches folder right here. And we'll hit choose. And motion content, I know we've changed everything else from in library to something else, but motion content is the one thing that we're going to leave in library, and we'll find out why here in a little bit. We'll leave backups to Final Cut backups. That means that everything that's on the Jellyfish in terms of your libraries are then being backed up to your computer, which is a good thing in case something were to go wrong. So we'll hit OK. And we don't need to include the render files. We can re-render. That's not a problem. Color processing, because we're working, in this case, on a trailer, and this trailer is going to be theatrically distributed, we want to go to wide color gamut so that Sam can color grade in P3 here in a little bit. All right, so now we've got a bunch of red clips and a bunch of audio files, which, did you guys see that IXML thing that Steve was showing earlier? That was pretty cool, huh? And it in fact, works. It worked with our footage. We imported the footage with that little button checked, and hey, look, we've got the boom and then our 2 lavs for each clip. So the next thing I need to do is I need to synchronize my footage, and we also had a script supervisor on set, and she did this really nice thing where she went through and added all of this beautiful metadata to this shot sheet right here. You know, we've got scene and take information. We've got information about what kind of shot size it was, the frame rate, the frame size, who was in it in terms of characters, whether it was internal or external, or interior, exterior. Internal, external, exterior, whatever. We've also got a few clips that were shown to be no good or rejected, and then we've also got our director's circle takes. And so now the question is, how do I get all of this beautiful scripty information into my footage in Final Cut so that I can search it? And then how do I get all of my red footage and all of my audio synced up? So we're going to hop back into Final Cut so that I can see that I don't have any metadata. I'm going to switch from the current workspace over to Organize, and I'm going to switch over to List View. So now we've got this beautiful view where I don't have a timeline, and I can just see that all of my audio has seen and take information, and my clips don't, which is not exactly what we want. So we're going to open up Shot Notes X, which is made by our friend Kevin. And new to 10.3, instead of having to export an XML and then import it into the application, you can simply take the event and drag it into Shot Notes. And ta-da, there are your clips right there inside of Shot Notes. I'm next going to go into Finder, and I'm going to take the CSV that our script supervisor provided, and we're going to drag it in, and we've got all of our clips matched. We're going to save our XML. And yeah, that's a fine name. I'll go ahead and save it to my Shot Notes folder. And I'm given the option to import that directly into Final Cut, but in this case, I want to batch sync all of my audio as well. So I'm going to hit Cancel. I'm going to open Sync and Link, and Sync and Link, as Philip mentioned during the Stump the Gurus portion, allows me to batch sync all of my clips based on timecode. So I'm going to open XML. I'll open the Shot Notes XML that I just generated in Shot Notes. We'll hit Open. And then we're going to come in here and make sure that we've got Add Video Metadata to Synchronize Clips selected so that all of my beautiful scripty notes are now going to be applied to my new synchronized and multicam clips. And in case I have any clips that are from scenes that had both an A and a B camera, I am going to leave checked also make multicam clips. All right, so we'll hit Sync Clips, and that's fine. We'll go ahead and save that file, and we'll rename it -synced. We'll hit Save, and we'll select our library. And as it's importing, we're going to, here in a second, have synchronized clips with metadata from our script supervisor, including scene take information, as well as, again, frame size, frame rate, and all of that stuff. And it will be searchable inside of the browser in Final Cut. And once it's cut into the timeline, it'll be searchable in the timeline index, which is pretty super sexy awesome if you ask me. Maybe you didn't ask me, I don't know. All right, so now we've got our footage in here. And just to prove that I can search my scripty notes, I noticed that we had some MCU or medium close-up shots. I'm going to, muck doesn't do us anything. We'll do MCU, and all of my medium close-ups come up. I can also search, as was mentioned earlier, all of my multicams, and I can do synchronized, and poof, there they are. Now, the trick is to prep our event so that it's useful to our editor. So I'm going to do a few things in terms of managing my keywords and keyword collections to make it a little bit easier for Gergana once she receives the footage. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to create, by pressing Command-Shift and a new folder for some of these keywords that are just kind of out and floating. I'm going to create a tech folder and add my MOS and VFX keywords to that folder. And you'll see I've got this circled keyword collection. Remember, we saw circled takes in there. So I've got this here, but I've also got it in my ratings folder. So do I need it in both places? No. So I'm just going to delete the one that's sitting out and about. And here I've got my circle takes. They're beautiful. They're luscious. They're amazing. And you'll notice one other thing that ShotNotes has done. It's added this fun little green bar across the top. You guys familiar with what favorites are? Yeah, so it automatically made favorites for us, which means that even at the event level, I can come and filter by my favorites, and voila, everything the director said on set he wanted to circle is now a favorite, or basically like an automatic select. And you know how much work I did? You guys saw how much work I did. I did no work. And we've got all of our selects right here. Although I did get an email from one of my producers, and she said there was one shot that did not make it into the circled takes that she really, really, really wanted in the trailer. So I'm going to go open this text document. It was scene 13, take 4. All right, let's see if we can find that clip. All right, here's that clip. And she said that the part of the clip she was interested in started here, so we're going to copy that. And we'll hit paste, and we'll set an endpoint. And we'll come in here, and we'll copy that. And we'll come in here, and we'll paste, and we'll set an out point. And on our keyboard, we're going to press F to make a favorite. And let's play it back, see what we got.
Do you have any more of those, what do you call them? Sweaters.
All right, I don't know why she liked that clip so much. Anyway, we'll call it sweaters just so that it's easy to find.
Sweaters.
Show off some of the notes and stuff in the columns.
Oh, yeah. Sam reminded me that you guys, I showed you how to search the notes, but I guess I should show you that they're actually there. All of the notes from my script supervisor are now here inside of Final Cut. So again, if I wanted to search everything that's 2398, I could do that. Boom. Anything that had the Ronin shows up. Boom. Anything with Terrence shows up. So pretty nice. I like that feature pretty well. We're also going to do a fun little trick. You guys saw the continuous playback thing a little bit earlier? All right, so we're going to talk about how that can make our watching back of dailies super slick and awesome. So we're going to switch over to thumbnail view, and I'm going to make sure that my waveforms are turned on. And I'm going to go through for Gergana so she doesn't have to deal with this, and find all of the moments. Here, I'll make it a little bit easier to see our illustrious actress here. And I'm going to go through and cut out all of the bits before action and all of the bits after cut. So we'll come through here. And, you know, actually, she only needs the selects because we're working in on a tight deadline. So I'm going to come through and we'll remove that portion. And they break right around there, so we'll set it out. That's our fun little sweaters clip. It doesn't need any attention. We'll come here, and then let's see. I think that's where they say cut. Let's check.
That's a cut.
All right, so we'll remove that. And then check this out. I can watch the end of the clip. You guys already saw this, but no hands. Look, Ma.
Do you have any more of those, what do you call them? Sweaters.
I just really wanted to play that clip for you guys again.
Thank you. Thank you.
But anyway, as you can see, instead of having to use a pancake timeline or a selects timeline to be able to go through and watch certain bits, we can now use keyword collections, favorites, and rejects, which, by the way, when I rejected all of that, it didn't actually delete it. We've still got it. It's just a little piece of metadata saying hide it, right? So it's not gone, but I can filter it out, and Gergana can watch back her selects without having to have a sequence to do that, to cut from her selects to her timeline. So now I'm going to pass it on over to Gergana so she can cut with this fun little library.
I'm gonna pass it myself. Hi, everybody. Well, Patrick, thank you for making it so easy for me.
You're welcome.
You'll see that everything I get is now just a beautifully, you know, arranged and set up library that I don't need to see anything that I don't want to see in. So, you know, I'm not gonna lie to you. I've cut something already in the meantime while I was switching between the laptops. So I'm just gonna add a few final touches. I'm not gonna do a whole editing of a trailer in front of you. That's gonna take at least 10 minutes, so not gonna do that. So what I'm gonna show now is I'm just gonna add in the beginning our logo of Lumaforge, because this is our production kind of, and I have it here in my graphics, and I'm gonna bring it to the timeline, and I'll see how it plays.
And
Yeah. Oh,
by the way, that was all done with 3D text, and we just put our logo in there and turned it into a font, and that's actually one character of text.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. Patrick made it. But Patrick, if you don't mind, I just am not in love with this movement. I'm sorry.
Okay.
I'm going to speed it up a little bit just to get through it quicker. So I'm going to hit Shift-B in the beginning of it and at the end of it. And I'll just double the speed of this. I'm sorry, I'm working on my laptop trackpad. Don't ever do that. And I'm going to double speed it right here. And this is not the right section, of course. I'm going to speed this up. And let's see how it plays now. Looks better to me, which is all that matters. So now what I'm going to do is, actually, I'm going to just show you that I've used this effect that I really like here.
Buckle up, fuckers, because you're stuck here.
I meant this clip before that. Also here I've used the optical flow. I don't know if you guys are familiar with it. It just creates frames where they don't exist in the footage. It analyzes it, and when you retime the clip, whether speeding it up or slowing it down, it just makes it smoother and increases the quality of it. I don't know what it does. It's for smart people. I'm an editor. I just use it. So what I'm going to do now is just bring a leader to my video in the beginning, so it's better for the sound people after me. Before that, I'm just going to real quick check my project settings, if they're all correct, if my time cut is set properly. Of course it's not. So I'm going to do that. I know the leader is 8 seconds, so I'm going to set it to 59, 52, and I'm going to change the color space to Rec 2020, just because we are working on a trailer. It's going to be played in theaters, and I'm going to save this. So now I'm going to open the library in which Patrick keeps the leader. And here it is. I have a tail and head leader, and I'm just going to copy the event to my library, so I have it there by just going here, and there we are. And I'm going to close this. I don't need it anymore. So here's my head leader. I'm just going to bring it to the timeline. It plays. We're good on this side. Also, I need to add some titles in the beginning, not in the beginning, but this is a trailer, so
Sarah, Pete, and Bryn. We encourage communication face-to-face, like this.
So this is a trailer about, the project is about disconnecting people from technology, which is kind of ironic considering where we are. Yeah, I'll need these titles. I don't know how to use motion, so I'll ask Patrick to do that for me, as we saw he can with the logo. So Patrick, can you do that?
Yes. In fact, I thought you might need some titles, so I took the liberty of creating one for you.
Worst assistant editor.
So we've got some titles, and they are, in fact, of the 3D variety, and decided to make something nice, bright and blue. And as you can see, I even added a nice little shimmery outline there. And just to show you how the sausage is made, in the inspector, I've got a blue plastic material as the front, side, and back, and for the front edge and back edge, I decided I wanted to go with nickel. And let's see, did I use, and I did not use anisotropic, guys. I'm so sorry to disappoint you guys. I'm going to turn on anisotropic. And so now we've got this fun little animation. And the tricky thing about titles is sometimes Gergana is going to want that animation, and sometimes the title is going to be up for so little that the animation is going to detract from people being able to read the text. So I'm going to add a marker, and watch this. This is really cool. And if you aren't using this in your motion templates, you should. I'm going to right-click that marker, edit the marker, and I'm going to set it to build in optional. And what that's going to do is now this portion is always going to be 15 frames long, but if I go to project, you can see in the inspector there's going to be this little checkbox that she can use to turn that built-in animation on and off. So I could build in any number of animations before that marker, and that stuff is going to either turn on or off based on the built-in right here. I'm going to go ahead and save this title. We'll save it to the Lumaforge folder on my computer, and I'm just going to call it OTG title because I'm super creative. We're going to hit publish, and you'd think that that's it, right? But I just published it to my computer, and Gergana needs it, so I need to put it on the jellyfish. So how do I put it on the jellyfish? In Final Cut, remember earlier we talked about how when setting my storage locations, I do not want my motion content in the motion templates folder. What I want is in library. Why? In motions templates folder means that it's going literally, here, let's open Finder. It's going to go into my movies folder under motion templates. That's not going to help anyone. So instead, I want to save this motion template in the library. I'm going to hit OK. And to make sure that it passes properly, I'm going to create a new project. I'll just call it title. And we'll make it 4K, and why not wide gamut, because we are working with P3 for theatrical. And now I'm going to go to my little titles browser, go to Lumaforge, and I'm going to cut the title in. And we've got our fun little build-in, as you can see. Or if I check the checkbox, we no longer have the build-in. She wants the build-in. I'm going to turn on the build-in. And just to verify, make doubly sure that that title is in fact in the library and nowhere else, I'm going to hit, under motion content, I'm going to hit consolidate. Hey, there are no files to consolidate. Why? Because we set our settings properly before adding the title. All right, so now I'm going to close this library so Gergana can open it on her end. And, Gergana, I got an email from our producer while you were working on that. She said that she really, really, really wants that sweater clip at the end of the trailer. So please, please, please cut that in.
I'll see what I can do about it.
I'm going to be really disappointed if she doesn't cut it in.
Can I not include it? So I'll just, I was just making sure that my library is set properly. It wasn't, of course. So I changed that for my motion templates, and I'll bring the library that Patrick has created, and I will just, the project is open right here. I will copy and paste it on my timeline. Actually, I'm gonna hit Option V because I wanna bring it on top. And this window is telling me that I'm copying stuff between libraries, which I'm totally okay with in this case. And I'm gonna shorten it and copy it over to all the gaps I left for titles. Change what it says. No Facebook. No Tinder. Sad story. That's a very sad movie. And no Amazon. Good luck with Christmas presents. This is, well, yeah, I have all my titles here. What I'm gonna do now is, because I wanna move this to sound and color after me, I'm gonna assign roles to some of the clips. We found a very cool way to use video roles. It turned out that you can use it very nicely if you are coloring with Color Finale, which Sam will show you a little bit later. But I'm just gonna show you how, you know, it actually changes on the timeline and how pretty it is. But also, you know, all of this is about communication between the people in the team, and colors in the timeline can be a great way to communicate. But also, how do we communicate in the modern world the most? By emojis, of course. So what they didn't tell you from Apple is that you can actually name your roles based on emojis. Yeah, so I'm gonna add the sweater video that we talked about and the producers want real quick. I'm gonna just look for it. It's sweaters, supposedly. There it is. And I'm gonna bring it at the end.
What do you call that?
And I'm just gonna cut the first part of it. Well, maybe I don't want the audio either. So,
What do you call that? Sweaters!
and that's it. This is how everything will end. But I want to give some things roles, and I will do that for these 4 clips. They are happening in the campfire. I will give them the campfire, which is green, and I will give this clip the banana rolls. Just so you can see, because I did it too quickly, it's actually a banana there.
Can you zoom in on that?
Yeah, I can. I have to. Yeah, kind of. I will zoom in. It's a very, very important feature. What have we done without it? See? And I will give this one the eggplant roll. And I'll, at the end, just bring everything to my main timeline by hitting Option Command and down arrow. Well, almost everything. And I will pass this to Sam.
Okay. To this point is a bunch of different strategies that you guys can sort of take to approach how you build a project. But sort of new to 10.3 and with a couple of other advances is the idea that, well, you can color correct and do sound either inside Final Cut 10 or you can do it in another third-party app. And what we're going to show you now is a couple different ways to maybe approach the finishing aspect and delivering and turning over to a colorist and sound designer. One thing that you guys may not be able to see at this point is I'm going to be working from a control surface here. This is the tangent element control surface commonly used in DaVinci Resolve, but we've also programmed this to work with Final Cut 10, and new to Color Finale, it actually now works with the Color Finale Pro update. So you can actually use a color surface directly right within Final Cut 10. And if you guys want, come on up after. I will walk you through this. I actually programmed this entire thing. So there are a ton of commands that you can use with Final Cut 10 and this is available with the tangent download where you can come in and really take advantage. There are some knobs, wheels. When you use this, maybe in tandem with the touch wheel, you may not actually need to touch the keyboard anymore. I think that's a lie though. But so basically, one thing, first off, if you want to pass a library to and from an editor on network storage, basically the way that you do that is Gergana. I believe you were in the scene library here. Yeah. Was this you? So all you really need to do is go in and find the person's library you want to work from, and if you've set your media and your cache to live separately, you can just push Command D, and it's going to make a library, a lightweight file copy because there's nothing in that library. So make sure you keep your media and your cache files separately, and you're going to be able to do something like this as well. And now I'm going to go ahead and open this library, and I'm going to open up right into the timeline that she was just in. And so this is going to open up, And here we are. I'm working directly from her exact timeline with her exact media. By the way, I don't know if we mentioned, I think we did mention this, but we were working with 6K, the original 6K and 5K red raw that is synced to the original sound using IXML data. All of these concepts that they were talking about during the Apple presentation were put to use on this, and you're going to see how that's going to manifest later as we work through this timeline. So basically, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and place a Color Finale Pro filter onto this clip here. And actually, no, I'm not going to do that. I jumped ahead. There is a strategy. We've detached all of the audio from these clips, so I'm dealing with video-only clips. So the first thing I recommend you do prior to doing a color grade using Color Finale in Final Cut 10 is to use your timeline index, and by default, this is set to all. You're going to want to set this to video. And basically what you're going to do is select all of your video clips by pushing Command A, and actually, or you can simply go and select across your video in the timeline here, and I can make a new compound clip, and I'm going to call this Color Finale. And this is all of my video footage directly in here. When I double click this, I'm now taken inside. I don't have any audio in the piece, or I think actually I might have. Oh, there is some audio here, but I don't even really need to worry about this. Any of the stuff from the picture this has not been detached yet, so I can detach the audio here. And we'll just go ahead and take this out real quick. And I'm going to clear this out, and now I'm just going to work from my video. For all intents and purposes, you would just do that across this beforehand. Gergana had detached the audio. And what you're going to do now is I can go and select all of these video clips, and I can place Color Finale Pro directly on them by double-clicking this filter. And I have now added a Color Finale Pro filter to all of these different clips in the timeline. So as we go and move through, you'll see that I'm selecting new clips, and there's a Color Finale Pro filter on them. On top of that, when I go to open the controls, I can now add a three-way color correct filter, and if I go into the tangent mapper and I select the Color Finale for Final Cut 10 mapping here, you can see I'm moving the balls here, and I am grading directly right in Final Cut 10 from a control surface using the balls and wheels, and I'm adjusting the saturation with a knob. This all works directly in Final Cut 10. You do not need DaVinci Resolve to grade with a control surface. By the way, in Color Finale Pro, I can go and add a curve here, etc. And if I go and I push, if I go back into the timeline and I push the next clip and I push the clip select, it takes me to my next Color Finale Pro filter, so I can repeat this process. And if I go and sort of jog ahead a little bit, there's a transition there. You're going to see, hold on. You're going to see that I am actually grading the next clip in the sequence. So the bottom line is I can work and move between edits very similar to how I might work in Resolve, but I didn't have to do a conform for any of this, and I'm sitting here working with the tangent element control surface right in Final Cut, working on my red raw inside Final Cut 10. By the way, I'm doing this on a laptop, and you can do this too. This is not a big deal. And basically, you can take this a few steps further with some of the new functionality in Final Cut 10. So we discussed earlier, Gergana had taken the liberty to make some, to tag some things green. If you notice, I have some green clips in here. I've got a orange clip here, and I've got a sort of pink clip here. And when I go to the roles section, you'll notice that I've got campfire, banana, and eggplant that I can easily select, and those are going to highlight in the timeline, and I can visually know what is what. So what might I actually do with that? Is this actually useful? The answer actually, believe it or not, is yes, if you are a colorist. So I was a colorist by trade for a while, and you would typically try and group clips, or you would use in Resolve sort of a chain, like remote grading, to go and grade across multiple clips. You can do this now in Final Cut 10 with Color Finale Pro, and this is how you would go about it. So basically, I've got my campfire roll selected here. By the way, you can also search for all of the campfire clips here. And basically, I can now go and select all of my campfire clips. There's 4 of them here. I can go, and if you have designated some groups, I've designated a campfire group here already. I can place I'm going to update the group, or I'm going to update the effect with whatever's on the group. There's nothing there yet. However, if I go and save this effect preset, and I call this campfire, and it goes into the color finale category, this is basically like saving a group that I can now apply to other clips. So what I'm going to now do is I'm going to go to File, Edit, and Remove Attributes. Or, oh, sorry, that was Paste Attributes. But if I go to Edit, Remove Attributes, I'm going to get rid of the original Color Finale Pro filter I put on there. By the way, you don't necessarily need to do this. You can use this group link grade and then use the other Color Finale Pro filter to do individual grades on clips. But for this scenario, I just wanted to show you that Remove Attributes was now present in Final Cut 10. So I've just removed these filters, and now I'm going to go and apply this campfire effect to all 3. And now if I come back to the original one, and I go to Open Controls here, and I go under the 3-way, and I go and affect that, you'll notice that my other campfire clips have all updated. So I have linked these grades using this, and there are so many different ways to go about this, but this is a whole entirely different way of looking at grading within Final Cut 10, and it has many different applications. On top of that, there are some other applications to this too. So for instance, now if I go under Rolls, and let's find the banana roll, there it is, I have it selected, and I zoom into this, what would I possibly use a banana roll for in color grading? Well, it turns out that I've also made a preset here under OTG, which is Off the Grid is the name of this pilot, and I have a banana tint. Why wouldn't you? And so there we go. We have a banana tint that I have used as a custom look under Tint. And if I go to my eggplant roll, and actually I'm just going to zoom out. If I go to my eggplant roll here, I've also made a custom eggplant tint, and I can apply that preset. So basically, she communicated that she really needed these effects done. The producer basically had some really strange ideas about color correction, but as a professional, I always do what the client tells me. And so now we have this magnificent look on the end of this. So emoji rolls actually do have a practical use. You're welcome. All right. So let's go ahead and dive out and go one step and maybe take a look real quick on how to build on some of the audio functionality that Apple was talking about earlier in this new release. And so I'm now in my timeline. I have my audio back, and you'll notice I have all of this. I can move my dialogue, music, and effects. I'm going to put the dialogue up top here, and I can, of course, expand components, and you'll notice that we used IXML data where I have a ton of different Subrolls that I can now manipulate. I can apply clips. The way that I recommend you approach sound design now in Final Cut 10 is to approach things first on the clip level, where you can go and I can find, for instance, all of my boom dialogue. And say I wanted to apply an effect to everything on my boom, I would now go and I can either search based on boom here and select audio only. And now there's all of my audio boom mic, or actually, well, no, these are, this is present with other stuff. Or if you notice, and I zoom in here, there's boom designated there, so I could literally just drag across all of these components, and I can apply a distortion, for instance, car radio effect to all of those boom mics, and I can do that across individual components there. Or I can now select everything in here, and I can make a new compound clip, and we're going to call this OTG Subroll mix. Now, many people have, they hinted on some of this in the previous Apple demo, where you can now make a compound clip. And if you look at this, this can bring you back to a little bit of a, of what a traditional digital audio workflow is. But the difference is you don't need a change list for this process. You don't need all of these complex things to go back and forth with your sound designer. Instead, you can now get tracks, sorry, I said it, in Final Cut 10, and you can now manipulate those tracks directly in your timeline, and basically I can go across all of these. But what if I wanted to do this with Subrolls? Well, actually, as it turns out, something that I didn't mention in the other presentation is if you have this compound clip selected, you can set this to Subrolls. And so now I can apply EQs. For instance, I can apply an EQ to everything the Terrence character says. I can put a compressor, for instance, on my camera dialogue, and I can go and drag across a range and address individual sections across an individual character's microphone in a scene. There's basically limitless things that I can actually do now in terms of this. However, what if I wanted to also take it on the global level and not lose any of this work that I've just done on all of my Subrolls? Well, you can take this one step further, and the answer to doing that is by simply selecting your compound clip, making another new compound clip, and calling this OTG Master Mix. And now I've got my Subrolls in dialogue, music, and effects, and now I could, for instance, apply a master compressor on top of all of this. I could apply noise reduction. I can do standard effects to all of my music and essentially do a mix. And you can go and take this. It's very similar to how tracks and buses work in Logic and Pro Tools, but you can bring this functionality directly inside Final Cut 10 and not have to do a complicated conform and do a lot of these other things. So it is, I guess my question to you guys now, and I don't really know the answer because I'm not a sound designer, is what can't you do in Final Cut 10 when it comes to approaching a mix, and what do you guys still need? But the reality is what you can do is leaps and bounds, I think, what you can do in any other NLE. And it's because of the flexibility of roles and how those can be used now at the mixing stage. Now, a couple final things. While I've been doing all of this, it turns out it's also really easy to deliver to traditional third-party applications. And while I've been doing this, Patrick has taken Gergana's timeline and has done a couple things with it.
Yes, I have. In fact, knowing that there was going to be a banana roll and eggplant roll and some pretty weird color stuff, I took the liberty to bring it into Resolve and even started doing some grading on my own. So it took me like 5 seconds. And then in Logic Pro, I also had the time to export a reference movie of the entire trailer, and I've got, remember IXML and how we brought in all of those mics earlier on? Now you'll see we've got all of those mics have been ported into tracks within Logic very quickly and easily. And I've got my, my little reference video right here so that I can actually see, you know, what's going on. Watch my little logo. Even with the little speed change I'm not a big fan of, but Gergana went ahead and gave a speed change. And it took no time at all, and yeah, I mean, that's turnovers. Very simple. Sam, you have a little bit of additional magic over there, don't you?
We got into Resolve. Sorry, actually,
Yeah.
I wasn't even paying attention to what you're doing there.
Yeah, we got
Patrick.
into Resolve. Heck, Sam, I even took the time to do a secondary mask while you were...
So we have One more thing, which, by the way, if you want to typically do this in Hollywood, this can cost you up to $4,000 to do this. However, there's this little open source program called DCP-O-Matic. And we actually used Easy DCP for this pilot. By the way, this pilot was my film collective, We Make Movies, first original TV pilot that we've done. It was 100% community developed with community actors, and basically we put this thing together from scratch, developed script to screen through our community. And so most communities don't have a ton of resources the way Hollywood does. We didn't have $4,000 for a DCP. We actually made our DCP at Lumaforge. We had a little DCI P3 monitor from ISO. By the way, you can get one for $1,500. It self-calibrates. And you can screen your DCP in Resolve if you use Easy DCP. But you can also make a 4K DCP using this piece of software, DCP-O-Matic. And it is 100% free. It works on the Mac. And the only thing you need to do in terms of bringing that and projecting it in a theater, which is what we did when we premiered at the Sundance Theater here in Hollywood a few weeks ago, is basically make sure it gets on a Linux formatted drive. By the way, the Jellyfish is Mac, Windows, and Linux compatible. So all you need is you get a little Raspberry Pi formatted for Linux, and you can have a little DCP creator that you go and bring to studios, and you can make your DCP on the Jellyfish, plug in your little Raspberry Pi to that, and it can be a little DCP creator. And if you are an in-house production place, that is really useful and saves you a lot of money. So the bottom line is a lot of this, what we just did in an hour, it mimics the process of how you can collaborate with all of the other people on your team and how seamless and easy it can be to work from your original red and sound and seamlessly go and pass between team members and departments and deliver and make your movie and frankly spend a whole lot more time in your story and a lot less time on the tech. So thank you guys very much.